thinking about perception, in relationship to emotion, that's something I've been working on a lot. And understanding, like, why do I feel certain ways at this time? Especially, like, I want to understand, like, my negative emotions. Why do I feel, fear, or, or depressed or angry or whatever, right? And I recognize it has to do with my perception of an experience, right? Or something I've witnessed. And that if I change my perception, that I can have a different emotion come from it. So it's made me realize, like, emotions are really subjective. And again, this is where, like, getting in the bigger picture really helps. Like, a lot of times when something happens to us that throws us off in a negative way, we're not taking in the bigger picture. And, like, as time goes by, we can go back and look at that, and it's easier to recognize, oh, maybe this wasn't so bad. Maybe this was actually really good for me. I just didn't see it then. So it's interesting how these things are subjective, and yet, a lot of people are swayed to make, like, big decisions because of these subjective emotions, and because of this subjectivity around right or wrong. Back to politics, policies that are made, laws that are made. A lot of them are based on these subjective um, beliefs, experiences, for lack of a better word, that people are having, and they're not really necessarily beneficial. It's just, people are responding to, oftentimes, who's the loudest, who's the most emotional, who's the most threatening, versus, like, what makes the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel nowadays like they're not being heard. And I think that that's why a lot of the anxiety and stress in politics exists, is because, like, we have a system that rewards deal makers, and, like, the only thing that matters in politics is, do you have the votes? And if you have 50% plus one, that's enough to get whatever you want passed. And it might not even be what the 50% plus one even wants, because they had to make all these deals just to get the 50% plus one, but the other 49% is just left out in the cold, and nobody's happy, And this is why I think we should move more towards consensus building as an approach in all aspects of life, because I think deep down, most people want the same things. And I know people say that, people talk about that like it's a cliche, but it's like, it's in the data. If you ask people individually on issues like the drug war and things like that, they tend to fall, like, within the same, mindset. And I think that that's very interesting, because I think it means that we're not doomed. I'm an optimist. I actually do believe that, most people want the right thing. And I think it's important for everyone to have a moral compass, and if there's slight variations in that, that's completely understandable. We all have our own life experiences, and it's going to shape what we think of as being right and wrong. But the only way we're going to get ahead is if we understand and have humility about the fact that we are individuals with our own unique personal experiences that aren't shared by others. Like, we just have to understand that, like, other people matter and their opinions matter. Even if you think they're completely wrong, their opinions matter.